I worked night shifts at a hospital for almost a year, long enough to learn which sounds mattered and which didn't. Machines beep. Elevators groan. Patients cry out in their sleep. You stop reacting to most of it. That's how you survive nights, by learning what to ignore. I was a junior nurse, usually assigned to quiet floors where nothing urgent was supposed to happen. Supposed to. Everything changed the night I was asked to cover an extra floor. It wasn't on my schedule. A supervisor stopped me near the elevators around 1:40 a.m. and said they were short-staffed. She handed me a clipboard with a room list that looked old, printed in a different format than the others. The floor number was written by hand. I remember thinking it was strange, but night shifts train you not to question authority. I took the elevator down alone. The doors opened to a corridor that felt wrong immediately. The lights were dimmer than hospital standard, more yellow than white. The walls were clean but outdated, like they hadn't been renovated in decades. No nurses' station. No computers. Just a long hallway and closed doors on both sides. The air smelled faintly of disinfectant and something else I couldn't place. Dust, maybe. Or time. My first round was silent. Too silent. Patients are never completely quiet. Even sleeping ones breathe, shift, cough. Here, there was nothing. I checked room numbers against the clipboard. The names listed didn't match any system I recognized. Some rooms were marked occupied, others observe only. When I gently opened one door, the bed inside was made perfectly, untouched, but the heart monitor beside it was on, flatline displayed, steady and calm. No alarm. At 2:17 a.m., I heard footsteps. They weren't behind me. They were ahead, slow and deliberate, like someone walking without urgency. I called out, assuming it was another nurse. No answer. The footsteps stopped. When I reached the end of the hallway, there was a door I hadn't noticed before. No number. No sign. Just a metal plate and a handle that looked older than everything else. I didn't open it. Something in my body told me not to. On my next round, one room was different. The bed was no longer empty. A figure lay beneath the sheet, chest rising slowly. I froze. The clipboard still said unoccupied. I stepped closer, trying to convince myself I'd made a mistake earlier. The patient turned their head slightly toward me. Their eyes opened. They were fully awake. "You're late," they said. I asked for their name. They smiled and said it used to be written down, but no one checked anymore. I backed away, heart pounding, and left the room. When I reached the nurse's station, or where it should have been, the corridor behind me was shorter. Doors closer together. The air heavier. I realized then that the floor wasn't just old. It was shrinking. I ran to the elevator. The button panel didn't show the floor number I was on. Only blank space where it should be. I pressed lobby. Nothing happened. Behind me, footsteps started again. Closer this time. Multiple. The elevator finally opened on its own. I didn't look back. When I reached the lobby, it was 2:18 a.m. according to the clock. 1 minute had passed. I reported everything. The supervisor looked confused, then pale. She said there was no such floor anymore. It had been sealed years ago after a departmental restructuring. When I showed her the clipboard, it was gone. I was holding nothing. I transferred departments the next week. I don't take extra shifts anymore. I don't work nights if I can avoid it. And whenever I pass a hospital elevator at night, I check the panel carefully. Because sometimes, for just a second, I swear I see a floor number that isn't supposed to exist. I tried to forget it. I told myself fear rewrites memory, that exhaustion can turn confusion into something cinematic. For weeks, nothing happened. My new department was busy, bright, loud. Days instead of nights. Real patients. Real charts. Real names. I started to believe the floor had been a stress-induced hallucination, a glitch in a tired brain. Then the dreams started. I was back in the corridor, but it was longer now. Doors stretched endlessly, their numbers changing as I walked. Every monitor showed a flat line, steady and calm, like a promise. In the dreams, I never ran. I always walked, clipboard in hand, checking names that blurred when I tried to read them. At the end of the hallway, the metal door waited. In the dreams, I opened it. I woke up every time before I could see what was inside, gasping, heart racing, sheets soaked with sweat. The clock always read 2:17 a.m. One night, after a particularly vivid dream, I checked my phone and found a voicemail. No missed call notification. Just the message. It was short. Static heavy. Breathing. Then a familiar voice, calm, patient, disappointed. You forgot your rounds. I deleted it immediately. The voicemail reappeared the next night. At work, I started noticing small inconsistencies. A patient chart with a name I didn't recognize, formatted differently than the rest. A hallway that felt longer on certain nights, though I was sure it hadn't changed. An elevator that paused too long between floors, lights flickering just enough to make my stomach drop. Once, I caught my reflection in the stainless steel doors and saw a badge clipped to my uniform that didn't belong to me. The name on it wasn't mine. It was smudged, but I knew it had been on the clipboard. I asked an older nurse about the sealed floor. She went quiet immediately. Then she told me something no one had mentioned before. The floor wasn't closed because of restructuring. It was closed because staff refused to work it. Nurses went missing. Not physically, they went home, slept, woke up, different. Forgetful. Detached. Some stopped recognizing people. Some stopped recognizing themselves. One never left the building. They said she was still on duty. A week later, the elevator doors closed on me one evening and didn't open right away. The floor indicator flickered, skipping numbers. For a moment, just a moment, a blank space appeared where a floor number should have been. The lights dimmed. I smelled disinfectant and dust again. The doors began to slide open. I slammed the emergency button. The doors closed. The elevator jolted and continued upward. When it finally opened, I was shaking. The indicator showed the correct floor. People walked past like nothing had happened. I stood there until my legs stopped trembling. I quit the hospital the next day. Sometimes, late at night, I still hear the soft ding of an elevator in my building, even though it doesn't have one. Sometimes I wake from dreams with the sense that I'm late for something important. Something that doesn't exist anymore. But the worst part isn't the fear. It's the feeling that somewhere, deep below a hospital that pretends not to remember, a floor is still waiting. And it knows my name.